I am racing against sunset to get this video done. But this is just about my personal experience with Pluto transiting my sun. I am a Capricorn Sun, and I spent the last 16 years in around family and acquaintances and friends and like just being around people but feeling alone, just the most alone, the most isolated, emotionally. I just felt like no one saw me. That's also a core wound of mine, but it wasn't until I got my natal chart read this past March that I started to put the pieces together. If you haven't done that, I highly recommend it. If you're watching this, you probably have. But yeah, that whole Pluto in Capricorn decade and a half was dark. It was dark. It was pretty bleak. I was underemployed or unemployed for essentially a decade of it. Part of it, I was also in undergrad and in grad school. Amazing experiences, but it's been hard to hold on to those friendships. Like, I essentially don't have any friends from college anymore. My friends from grad school. I have one who texted me last week, which was wonderful, but we've put in the effort to try to maintain our friendship. But it's just different with Europeans. Social media isn't as big over there. It's harder. But it's just been this recurring theme of loneliness and just not feeling like I could hold on to friendships, relationships, dating. All of those were just mirrors for me to look into and see myself. And of course, none of them were good because I was just going through so much inner turmoil that like I I just thought it was growing pains of being 20, which I'm sure it was, but I was just lost in all of it. The last 16 years was a lot of being lost. My sun, however, is towards the tail end of Capricorn. It's at 28 degrees. So these last 4 years have been really transformative. Like, I am a different person. Full stop. You can ask the people closest to me. It would be wonderful if I could have them give their testimonials. But I feel like I am closer to the person that I was put here to be, the person that I was born as, that baby who would be on the bus during the morning commute where everyone was just sour and upset and focused and just in their own head. I was the one who was on the bus giggling and playing peekaboo and flirting with just random strap hangers. And my sister and my mom always tell me that I used to make people laugh and smile, and I was just such a light. And I lost a lot of that light just throughout the years, just, social conditioning, going to school, and especially in New York City, in Brooklyn, New York. Like, you can't be out here, happy-go-lucky, jolly self all the time. People are gonna be looking at you crazy. Even because kids come with their own trauma, and kids project that in their own way. The angry kid, you don't know what's happening at home. You don't know what's happened to them. But it just felt like it was less and less socially acceptable for me to be my happy-go-lucky, playful, friendly, silly, goofy self. It was, my peers around me were just becoming very much like into teenagery things, boys and all that. And I just, whatever. The moral of the story is I lost that essence like from a baby. I was just always friendly, and I had, a particular light that I let go of. I was just trying to survive, and that survival got just deeper in my 20s. Again, being underemployed, and having pressure, and forget society, just familial. Like, people are like, you went to these schools, you took out these loans, like, you need to pay them back, you need to do this, you need to do that. All this structure. I just didn't have time to sit and think and, figure out who it is I wanted to be. And because who I wanted to be was a music biz executive, and that didn't pan out. And, honestly, I think that was God saving my life, looking at all the stuff that's coming out. But yeah, when it comes to relationships, jobs, I was just in deep, deep restriction. Again, I had friends and acquaintances, but they weren't my tribe. I'm still looking for my tribe. But I'm way more optimistic now because I am a fuller person. I am a perfect person, as in I'm whole, right? Like, I had this revelation the other day that, like, all of this work, the work that I've been doing over the last 4 years, just working on myself, I got addicted to the work. Just thinking about when Pluto hit my sun in, I believe that was around 2022, and all of the just complete tower moment, just everything falling apart. Like the bullshit situationships I was in, like falling into depression for a myriad of reasons, just having a terrible work situation, a boss that treated me like shit, as well as just, precarious financial situation, just not making as much as I deserved. Getting a dog to fill the voids in my life. And I'd always wanted a dog. It wasn't just to fill my voids. It was like I'd always wanted a dog. I get the dog, and it wasn't what I expected. And just the crying and the peeing and the pooping everywhere, and me not knowing anything. And then 3 months into it, the dog breaks her leg, and I'm forced to, like, get with it, like, grow up, be a mom, figure this out. And it was just like, if it wasn't emotional, it was financial, it was physical. I dropped a hex bar on my toe, like, just just the last 2 years. But when it was really, like, on my son, that was an assault. It was an assault on the human that is KP. But did it make me stronger? I was in social situations with people that, like, didn't accept me, and I wanted them to be my friend. I just wanted to be accepted. Another core wound, just feeling like I was misunderstood and I wasn't seen. And when that Pluto hit my sun, it was like I could see them. Also, I should also say that Pluto's in Capricorn. My Capricorn sun is in my 8th house. My 8th house is Capricorn and Aquarius. And I have a stellium in my 8th house, which is like 3 or more planets. I think 4 or more planets, actually. So I will be writing this thing out with Pluto for the next 20 years, for real, for real. Like, I have had so many planets in Pluto's path, and I'm with it. This transformation thing is amazing. Clearly, if I have an 8th house stellium, I'm all for transformation and just the ride of it all, the thrill, if you may. But yeah, that year or so, when I could say it was really the closest to my sun, on my sun, I saw through people. My X-ray vision that I'd always had was just a bit stronger. It got a little bit stronger. And I knew, again, what was being said about me behind closed doors. Like, I just knew I could see people's hearts. And it was such an invaluable experience. And the thing, all of that emotional turmoil that I went through, trying to be accepted, trying to feel a part of the crowd, trying to yada, yada, yada. As soon as I accepted who I was and realized that these people weren't for me and owned my power and focused on what was important and started, like, you know, walking on my mission and doing things for myself and exploring ideas and just this new life that I was building, everything disappeared. Like, all of my problems disappeared. Literally, people disappeared from my life. Like, all these people that I was worried about, they disappeared from my life without a trace. So that was a great lesson to learn, that, you know, we're confronted with these adversarial relationships, and once you crack the code, once you figure out what you're supposed to get from it, and own your power and establish your boundaries and push through that, you know, antagonistic relationship, that fight, poof, be gone. It's all gone. It disappears. So yeah, it's a test. If you're going through that, just know that it's a test, and push through. Put yourself first. That's the point of it, to find your power. So I had a number of those situations happen, and came out so much stronger. I have so much more direction, and not just direction, but momentum. I've tried so many things over the last couple of years and grown. And as we're moving out of this moment, we have about one more day. Wait, no, oh my gosh, it goes into Aquarius tomorrow. I have a couple more hours. I think it goes into Aquarius. Pluto goes into Aquarius tomorrow afternoon. So, yeah, at this last minute, I can say that actually with the last retrograde, more growth happened with the last Pluto retrograde over the last 2 months, 2.5 months. As it came back and almost hit my sun, I saw this like creative future for myself. If you can see, if you go into my my YouTube channel, you see that, like, in October, I posted like 5 days a week for 2 weeks. And that was all just an impulse. Like, something told me, well, I guess we're posting every day now. And I was like, what is this voice? Like, what's happening? And I just felt the impulse every day to post it. I was like, this is not sustainable. Like, what even is this? And when I actually did, so before you think that, like, I'm reading my chart and the transits and that's why I'm acting off of what I'm reading in my chart, no. Things happen and I'm like, what is going on? Because I'm just extra present due to this journey that I've been on the last couple years. And as things happen, I go and try to rationalize it, like try to find an answer by going to astrology. And then I saw that, oh, this is the last like couple days of Pluto retrograde, and it's right by my sun, and it's showing me things. It's bringing up extra things, and just, it's been the point of this video. Do not fear Pluto. Do not fear any of the planets. Don't fear anything in this life. We're here for a reason. Seriously, as cheesy as it might sound, we're here for a reason. What inspired me to make this video is just, I got my natal chart read, and there's only so much that an astrologer can tell you in that allotted time. So I have just felt called to keep digging and Googling and researching. And since March, I have just been in this deep, like on a daily basis, trying to figure things out. And it's been so exciting just finding language to articulate what I'm going through. And in that research, I'll find like Reddit threads, and people will be like, I'm so scared. I feel like something's gonna happen because I have this planet transiting this and then. And it's so disappointing to see. There's nothing to be afraid of. Life will give you more of what you expect from it. So if you expect bad things to happen, bad things will happen. People, between Pluto and my eighth house, people talk about death. The themes of death and the occult and inheritances and all of these occult topics. And I mean, if Pluto's gonna be in, transiting my planets over the next 20 years, transiting my eighth house, then yeah, chances are somebody's gonna die in my life within the next 20 years. That's just a given. It's not worth worrying over. And that's another thing with Pluto. It's coming now. It's approaching my Ceres and my moon. And these are all just nurturing aspects. And, considering the fact that it's hit my sun, it's headed towards, motherly type archetypes. I've really been leaning into the themes of death, which anyone who knew me as a child would be like, I am the most scaredy cat kid, but I found so much comfort in watching like near-death videos on YouTube. It's like near-death, like people with their near-death experiences and how they crossed over and what they experienced, and they came back and like what their lives were after that, or people in their final, days, months, people going through cancer, just fighting it and leaving that legacy on YouTube. I've just been enthralled, like really deeply feeling it, which is just so appropriate with Pluto, eighth house. It's so appropriate. And I know this might sound, might sound weird and creepy for most people, but I've really gotten to, or am getting to, a better place with just the idea of death. And it's so comforting. I'm gonna lose people. We're all gonna lose people. We're all gonna die. What sense does it make worrying over, when it's gonna happen or how it's gonna happen? It's our job here now in the flesh while we're here to use this to appreciate the folks that we have while we still have them. It's just given me so much perspective, so much grace. It's been such a beautiful experience so far. I know these next 20 years, and nothing about life is easy. I would say these next 20 years aren't going to be easy, yada, yada. Nothing about this life is easy. And I'm always up for a challenge. Like that's why we're here. To be transformed by our experiences, to learn from them, to grow from them. Otherwise, you're not growing, you're not living. So yeah, that's just been my experience with Pluto transiting, like over the last couple of years, my sun, sitting on my sun, and I'm grateful that, that's my lot in this life, to have these experiences. My chart could have been rearranged in other ways. I could have had so many different other experiences, but this has been such a full and rich experience so far. And there's so much more to come, so much goodness. These next like 2 years, I don't want to be predictive. I can't be predictive. I'm not God. But just, doing my research on my chart, there's so much to look forward to. And that's with all of us. There's so much good in all of this. We just, have to keep remembering that there's like a higher vibrational and a lower vibrational, part, theme to every sign, every house, every part of this astrology thing. I'm no astrologer yet. Who knows what'll happen in the future, but I've noticed that, like, as with anything in life, it's worth it more than anything to lean into the higher vibrational, the glass half full, lean into the possibilities, the good ones. So yeah, I spent essentially all of Pluto, not all, I spent most of Pluto transiting my Capricorn, broke, manless, sad, lonely, just unfulfilled, lost, that's the word. And as I'm coming out of it, I just see so much opportunity ahead for me, so much. And for anyone who fears what's to come, just remember there's always a higher and a lower vibrational aspect to everything that we go through. And lean into the higher. That's it for me.